Welcome to lesson 4. Our two topics this week will be choosing a site builder and choosing a host. You're choosing a product. There's a lot of choosing this week. You're choosing a project is due this week, so note that. If you are seeing that and haven't started, please start immediately. I've mentioned this a couple times, but that's a little bit more time intensive. Want you to have enough time to finish that up. And so if you're looking at that and thinking, oh, I haven't started that yet, please do start immediately on that. You'll also have your project 2 instructions this week. That is not due this week, but we'll go through the instructions there as well. So let's jump into choosing a site builder. If you think about site building and hosting as you're creating this, if we correlate that with a brick and mortar business, a physical business, your site builder is the physical building. Your host is like the land that you'll build on. And so I'll get into that a little bit more with when you choose a host, but your site builder is something that's going to help you construct the visible website. And there are 3 different types of site builders that we'll go through here, and it just depends on your comfort level and level of experience. You can use any of them. And the assignment here will be to go through and develop a quantify and compare on different options, and then have an essay explanation and as far as which one will work for your business. So the 3 different types are drag and drop builders, and then a content management system, and then essentially a build from scratch. The easiest one to use is a drag and drop builder. The examples I use here are Weebly and Wix. They're the most common. There's certainly many others you can use, but these are essentially platforms where you choose a template and then you'll drag and drop information, pictures, your logo, videos. Drag and drop is meaning there's no coding component to it. It's just click and use, and the coding gets done in the back end. If you haven't built a website before and aren't interested in developing that skill, I recommend using one of these. You can get a very professional looking functioning website using a drag and drop builder. The next is a content management system. WordPress is a very common one. Squarespace. There are a lot of different options here. I will say specifically, WordPress is one of the most common. I do not recommend it for this course just because students have had such trouble integrating some of the aspects of Google Analytics and Google Ads. I have built websites in WordPress. I've had a lot of experience there. It functioned okay for me, but just specifically for purposes of this class and the speed at which we're moving, WordPress can create headaches. If you've used it before and you're comfortable with it, I'm certainly not saying that you can't. If that's your builder of choice, then by all means go ahead and use WordPress. If you haven't used it before, or if you haven't built a website before, I tend to steer students away from WordPress. You will need, if you do WordPress, you need to purchase a separate hosting package. Again, I'll get more into this when we do our choosing a host assignment, but a lot of these will include the site builder and the host together as a packaged deal. WordPress does not, so you need to purchase separate hosting for that. And again, there's some information on Squarespace. Shopify is also a very common content management system. And then finally, if you want to build your own from scratch, you certainly can. I recommend that only if you've done that in the past and this is a ready skill set for you. It is very time intensive. Dreamweaver is the most common. That's what I built my websites on, but there are many other platforms you can use. You'll do, again, a quantify and compare spreadsheet. Include 3 of different options, 3 tools, and 3 criterion, and then do a Word document with a brief essay that compares those 3 tools, which one you chose and why, and this one should be at least 150 words in length. That'll be it for choosing a site builder. We'll jump into choosing a host here, as it's going to be pretty similar, but the host, it doesn't have these 3 neat categories. I find that a lot of hosting companies are pretty much the same in the products they offer. I haven't had a lot of variation in my experience. Maybe some with customer service, and then certainly the perks they'll offer. Then some will offer Google Ads credit, or various different perks if you go with that hosting company. But as I mentioned before, please note that traditionally, when websites were first starting in their first 15 years or so, you bought the hosting package, which is where your information, where your website will be stored online, right? So if you think about purchasing land to build a building on, you're purchasing that area online where you can build your website. That was sold separately from the site builder, which is actually building the site. Now a lot of those things are combined. So if you purchased a drag and drop builder site from Wix, Wix is the host and the site builder. So note that as you are making a purchase, you may not need to purchase hosting separate, but if you use something like WordPress, you would need to purchase it separately. So as you do your research on what you want to use, note whether or not they are both the host and the builder, or they're separate. We treat them as separate just so you understand the separate functions of that. But if you want to analyze Weebly as your site builder and as a host, that's fine, because they'll serve both those functions. There's some information there on how to choose a host. Again, I encourage you to read through that. Again, in my experience, I haven't seen a lot of difference in performance. The host ensures that my website content is available 24/7 and that it's fast. And those are the things I want from my host. And in my experience, they do those things pretty well no matter who you go with. But there are a lot of perks that some will offer, and that could be an advantage you look into. In addition, as you're choosing a host, there are other factors to look at. I try and simplify it as far as the things that matter most when you're really looking to build a professional website. So what you'll do here is after researching different hosting options online, again, these aren't kind of built into the assignment instructions like a site builder is. You'll have to go out and do your own research on different hosting companies out there, but find 3 alternatives, 3 criterion, and then you'll do a Word document. This one has specific questions that you'll go through. So instead of sort of an open-ended question, you'll go through and answer, which hosting company would you choose if you had to choose one now, and why? What's the monthly cost? Minimum number of months required to get that price, etc., etc. It's really getting you thinking about, what these hosting companies really offer. And so you'll go through and answer those questions for your essay. And that will be it. Week 4, again, fairly straightforward as far as your assignments go. You'll have the choosing a site builder, choosing a host, and then project 1, choosing a product. I will jump in briefly to project 2, as your assignments are in this week, set this week for project 2. Again, this is not due this week, but the instructions are here because you want to start on it this week. The project 2 is really based around creating and launching your site. It does not have to be the finished site. It just needs to be built and available online. This is part of that ready, fire, aim concept that we talked about at the very beginning of the course, where you're going to launch and you're not going to have a finished website, but that's okay, because no one's really going to find you and visit your website right now. But getting it online allows you to see what it looks like, see what people will experience when they visit it. So there's a project 2 video that will walk you through in detail what needs to happen. There's tasks that you'll go through, but I find it simplest to explain it based on the grading criterion for this assignment. What I'm really looking for in this is you have a website that's launched online, and that tells me in that a website that has its own domain name. You'll have to purchase that domain name. And Wix, Weebly, WordPress, all these, Squarespace, they'll offer you a free domain name, but it will be yourwebsite.wix.com or .weebly.com, it won't be an independent domain name, and that independent domain name is crucial. And so when I say its own domain name, that's a purchased domain name. It doesn't say .wordpress.com. It is yourwebsite.com or .org or whatever you choose. But it needs to be its own purchased domain name. It needs most of the necessary pages, navigational links, some attempted design. I'm not looking for a polished website. I just need to know you got the basics there, and I can say, yeah, this is where they're going. This is their general layout, right? There's, they have the pages they need to highlight the different sections for their business. And then integration with a third party to enable financial transactions. It doesn't necessarily have to be a third party. If you have PayPal, will go through how to integrate PayPal on your assignments, or if you have credit card function on your assignment, any of those things will do. It doesn't. When we say third party, I don't mean that you have to involve another company. If your drag and drop builder allows you to put a credit card function on there to purchase a product, that works. If you have an affiliate link that is on there, that works as well. Any of those functions will work. It's just you've got to have a way to generate revenue from your website, and that has to be functional in order to gain full credit for this assignment. So I think of Project 2 in terms of those three things. I'm going to look, do you have your own domain name? Do you have the general build of the website, not polished, but just the general structure up? And then do you have some way to enable revenue, to enable financial transactions to occur? That's what we're looking for in Project 2. So if there's anything there on in week 4 that you're struggling with, anything that seems overwhelming or that I didn't explain in enough detail, please reach out. Happy to take a look at things one-on-one and dive a little deeper. Thanks, everyone.